Dude.
Oh, dear God. I'm getting too old for this shit. Lean back. There we go. Lean back. Sorry. Alright, guys. Season 2.
Woo! All right.
Episode 14.
We've definitely gotten far, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we've been in the off season. Sorry, guys, that it's been so long.
So, happy Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's,
Hanukkah.
Chinese New Year's, Hanukkah,
Valentine's
Day,
Dia de los Muertos, Yule. I think that's
whatever other holiday we missed.
President's Day?
Has that happened yet?
I think that did. Yeah, it was like
Okay.
before Valentine's Day, I think. Anyway, so happy all of those holidays that we missed you guys. We're sorry. Anyway, we got some new stuff going on, some old stuff. Let's start off with the new. What have you been up to in the off season?
I got a new job. I'm
Ripping trailers down.
Ripping trailers down.
Which was awesome because you found some cool shit yourself.
Yeah, I actually
traded me some shit.
I can find in these trailers. I can pretty much take whatever I like.
Yep.
And I found Duke Nukem,
Yep.
which you're a big fan of,
Huge
and
Duke
I like
Nukem
it
fan.
too. So,
Huge Duke Nukem fan.
and I found the original Tomb Raider
Yep.
that you're all right on, I guess. But
I
kind of liked it when I played it. And
I mean, it's definitely an okay game, but give me Duke Nukem over that any day.
so, and I found some other games that I was like, oh, awesome.
Yo, speaking of games, I'm sure that you already know about this. I'm sure you're fucking stoked. The Need for Speed movie. What do you think? I saw the trailer.
Fast and Furious remake. That's what I think.
I don't know.
That's what I see with supercars.
I don't know. It looks like it might be a little more entertaining. Like, I hated Fast and the Furious.
The new Fast and Furious is I can't stand just for the fact that Criterion, get your thumbs out your ass. It's not Burnout.
I don't like them. Period. So even the original, I wasn't a big fan of.
I actually got news of some more Need for Speed installment things.
Oh god, what?
The new Need for Speed that's coming out, the video game.
Yes.
Is going to actually be made by the same guys who did Shift and Shift 2.
Really?
Which in themselves is going to be good games.
Yeah.
But
right.
they have said nothing about what it's going to be based off of, and a lot of people think it's going to be like Underground 2. But I really actually kind of hope not, because those guys that did those games.
Well, I didn't mind the
awesome.
First Underground. Like, I really liked the first Underground, so I could give or take on it.
But
so what else you been up to? Anything else that's kind of rad?
Working on my truck and hanging around and being
you saw Frozen.
boring. Yeah, actually, and you did too.
Yeah, I really liked it. And,
I did too. It wasn't cliche.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge Disney fan, even like
No, neither did I.
even like classic Disney. I mean, I definitely like stuff like I was a big fan, obviously, of Alice in Wonderland.
Me too.
That's my favorite. And I love stuff like The Black Cauldron and Robin Hood. That was a big one for me when I was a kid.
The Fox.
Yeah. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, my mom used to play that.
I mean, I watched a lot of the classics as a kid.
I was like,
But once I started getting older, like I think the last one that I really dug for a while was The Incredibles. Because as you know, I'm a big superhero.
Disney Pixar.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like.
I didn't think Cars was all that great.
I like the Pixar thing.
I know a lot of people like Cars. Wall-E was okay.
My little brother was more eccentric about cars than I was.
However, Monsters Inc. was pretty rad. I liked Monsters Inc.
I've yet to see University.
I haven't seen it yet either.
So
I will at some point. Anything Monsters obviously got our attention.
Toy Story has been my favorite series of the whole
believe
Disney
it or not,
Pixar thing.
Believe it, Disney Pixar right now for me it's got to be The Incredibles because I thought that Frozen was a Disney Pixar, but it's not.
No, it's just a straight up Disney movie.
Yeah, but it looks like a Pixar one.
I know,
and
but it looks.
Actually, I take that back because I did like Brave a lot. Brave was pretty rad.
I've never seen Brave.
Brave was pretty rad. I liked that a lot.
Have you heard of the Pixar theory?
Yes,
Where it strings them all together on a timeline.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Go check that out if you haven't learned about it. It is mind blowing.
So that's what you've been up to.
Yep, that's what I've been doing. What have you been doing?
Not much. Mostly work, obviously, because being married and shit.
You gotta keep a house over your head.
Exactly. Been watching a lot of movies, fantasy mostly.
Yeah, you've been on an off horror.
I have been, which is really weird because for the longest time that was all I was watching, and that lasted for years. I mean, literally, like from when I was 16 up until just a couple of months ago. And I've been watching a lot, and I do mean a lot of fantasy. I watched, in one weekend, I watched all 3 Lord of the Rings back to back. And those are like 4 hours a piece.
Okay.
I got all the extended cuts. No, it was fucking awesome, dude. Like, everybody left me alone. I sat up here in the office, and I watched all 3 of them. Like, back to back. It was fucking
You saw The Hobbit, didn't you?
Yes, I've seen...
saw The Hobbit.
Well, I've got the first one, the An Unexpected Journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the second one, Desolation of Smog, and I actually thought that was better.
Really?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are kind of like, with that, but I was the same way with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I thought the second film was better. Which a lot of people say the third one was the best, but I respectfully disagree. Speaking of fantasy, we got our Dungeons & Dragons night finally started.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about that on this before, but...
I don't think we did, which is kind of a bummer.
But we're not serious about this. This is like, Lord of the Rings. This, like you said...
It's Holy Grail.
Yeah, it's Monty Python. So
it's like Monty Python, or for fantasy fans out there who read a lot, like Terry Pratchett's The Discworld series, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love Terry Pratchett. I think he's a comic genius when it comes to this, because he makes fun of everything from typical fantasy like The Lord of the Rings and everything to he makes fun of Lovecraft's Cthulhu myths. He makes fun of everything. It's so funny.
But you are Thaddeus Thunderbeard.
I am the dwarf adventurer, Thaddeus Thunderbeard, but I kind of want my character to die because I want to be a tiefling. So, and I didn't even think of that when I started playing. I'm like, I'm going to be a dwarf.
I haven't even thought of a new character or anything, but I am Scrotimus Maximus, the unfuckwittable.
Yeah, and you are a human barbarian. And,
who is dumber than shit.
And you've got fungus growing off your balls. Can't forget about the mushrooms that we sold to that pizzeria. Well, we sold them to the doctor, and then the doctor...
Which is funny, because the next week we had pizza.
With mushrooms.
With mushrooms.
Which I was like, this better not be your ball mushrooms. That was pretty fun.
We've been having fun with that.
That was fun. We've got some great characters in that. Maybe one of these days we'll record a D&D session. Just for shits and
Maybe, just to
giggles.
see. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Alright, so... We've obviously got our top five. Which was my choice, but we'll get into that later.
So you got the Artist of the Week, which is more of a memorable, like
yeah, it's kind
of. We
of.
really love this guy, so we're going to talk about it.
It's a sad one.
Yeah.
And then we've got our comparison, which for all you people out there who thought Paranormal Activity was such a great horror film, this one is 1,000 times better when it comes
Easily
to
1,000 times better.
Yeah, when it comes to the haunted house, and I know that I've mentioned my disdain for. Paranormal Activity.
I'll give it a little bit just for the Paranormal 1 and 2 was okay.
2 was so bad. The first one was okay.
The 3rd and 4th, that's when it started getting a little ridiculous.
3, 4, 5.
And there's 5 now.
Yeah, 5 just came out, and I heard that there's going to be a 6th.
Of course, there's going to be a 6th. They're going to run this thing rampant
so
like Beethoven.
Yeah, probably.
So,
and they'll probably continue on. And of course, we've got our movies, which I have from 2003. Bubba Ho-Tep, which is in this rad Elvis jacket.
That's pretty. I was surprised when you pulled that out. And he's like, "Hey, look at that!" I'm like, "Whoa!"
I will actually go into why there's an Elvis jacket later on for those of you who have not seen this movie. And I have from,
like me.
And I have from 2013, Krampus, the Christmas Devil.
Okay, I got a little bit older movies.
Yep.
A little bit. From 2007, I got 1408.
Oh,
Stephen King.
Stephen King.
And from 2008, I got Shudder.
Based off the Korean.
Based off the same. This is the American remake.
This is the American one. Okay.
So.
All right. So.
Jump into the top 5.
Let's jump into the top 5,
right.
which is mine, and I figure this is episode 14. It's the beginning of our season 2. I wanted to start this off right with starting off bloody as hell, because I'm trying to get back into my horror groove.
Gorehound.
I am a gorehound,
You're
which
a gorehound.
People know. I'm a huge gore.
They should know by now, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people who watch this, thankfully, have known me for a few years. Plus, we've got some new fans from actually around the nation. I got a message, believe it or not, from a dude all the way in fucking Alaska.
What?
Yeah, and
oh, we got an Alaskan viewer.
dude,
cool.
and it was so cool because this was actually a request, and it almost made my top 5 rather than this one. He wants us to do a top 5 cryptids. which are like like Bigfoot and the Chupacabra.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And I never thought of that. And I'm like, that's actually a rad idea. So maybe we're
gonna work on that.
We'll definitely be
doing
that.
That's definitely pretty awesome.
That's a pretty rad idea. So we'll be talking about that. Of course, I've gotten another message about the fucking top 5 favorite rape scenes in a movie. It's not gonna happen. Stop asking.
There's plenty of rape scenes, but there's not any ones that mean anything.
There are meanings behind certain ones, like obviously with.
We've only come up with like 3.
3 or 4, yeah. So it's not
so
easy. It's not an easy thing, and no, we don't like that. That's not why we're in horror. I mean, okay, I get that some people are like, oh, that rape scene wasn't that brutal. He needed to fuck her harder and shit like that. No, sorry.
We're not those type of people.
We're not that kind of people. So sorry, dude, but not happening. Okay, so this one, because like I said, I wanted to get back into that horror groove. You and I talked about this a little bit the other day.
A little bit.
And this is the top 5 most brutal horror films that we've seen it and that are in our opinion.
Right.
We did stay away from certain ones, like we stayed. Well, I don't think you saw them, but the Hostel films.
No, I didn't see them, but you've been talking about them, and it feels like I should watch the first one.
The first one,
but the second and third I should just totally miss.
Number 2, if you really want to watch it, like you really get into number 1, go for number 2. Number 3, completely skip over.
I didn't know there's a third one. I've heard
there
of
is
them,
a third
but
one, and it's not worth it.
Okay.
We stayed away from Saw just because they're so mainstream.
We know it's brutal. You know it's brutal. We're staying away from
that. I think that's pretty much all the ones that we stayed away from. So I'll start because it's my list.
Okay.
At number 5, Human Centipede 2. I've talked about this movie numerous times, all the way back in episode 1.
Yep.
I reviewed it. It's one of my favorite modern horror films. I love Lawrence R. Harvey. He's, in my opinion, one of the great new horror actors. Met the guy, such a nice dude, but still one of the creepiest sons of bitches on the planet. In Human Centipede 2, it took Tom Six, the director's idea, and took it that step further because he kept hearing from people who tried banning the first Human Centipede that it was going to take a fan doing this and all that. And he took that idea, he put it in black and white, made the guy mentally handicapped, but completely sadistic. I mean, rather than cutting the knees like they did in the first one,
just smashed him with a hammer.
He fucked him up with a hammer, just whack. And he's duct taping and stapling them together. There is actually a really brutal rape scene in Human Centipede 2 where Martin, Harvey's character, has glass shards stuck in his dick and he starts raping the last person in the ass of all things. And he
bad.
It's so bad. It's so brutal. But my favorite scene, it's not super brutal, but when he actually kills his own mother by having his pet centipede, his pet giant centipede, attack her. And then he like whacks her with something. I forget what it is. I think it's like a candlestick holder. But I love Human Centipede 2. The reason it's at number 5 was it's as brutal as it is. There's way more brutal films I think on this list.
Yeah, we cover. Yeah.
Number 4, I Spit on Your Grave, the 2010 remake. I know people are gonna bitch that I put a remake on here over the original. I mean, the original rape scene was definitely more brutal, but the kills in this were so much more violent. And of course, my favorite is the shotgun up the ass. The sheriff, that was funny as hell. It was so brutal. The movie itself, like the whole concept behind it is brutal. And if you're one of those sick bastards out there who feel that you have to push yourself onto a woman, so help me, it's not right, dude. And I think you need to have your fucking dick cut off.
I'll tell you straight out.
I will. And that goes for women who think that they need to rape men, because men, you can get raped too. So don't think that it's just women.
But it's not something you hear about.
No, men. Believe it or not, actually, in colleges and stuff like that, I actually found out statistically more men are sexually abused than women.
Really?
Yeah.
Must be the teachers.
Well, they don't say anything. That's why we don't hear about it. Anyway, regardless, we don't need to make this a preaching show. Number 3, a Serbian film. We've talked about this film a ton of times. I love this movie. You love this movie. It's one of those few masterpiece horror films that we've talked about. And it's not. It doesn't go straight in for the jugular. I mean, this film builds, and when it does get brutal, it gets fucking brutal.
It's bad.
And I know I talk about the the beheading fuck all the time as one of my favorite kills of all time. But this particular scene makes me just so giddy when I see it because of how brutal it is. There's one of the bodyguards, SWAT team kind of looking guys. And he's got this deformed eye.
Oh,
and Milo, he skull fucks him. He skull fucks him, which is so brutal and it's so funny because it's such a unique kill. Like I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that.
It makes me so giddy to see it. Like we've seen eyeball injuries constantly, but that is one of the best. Number two,
awesome.
It's so weird because they classify this as a horror movie, but it's more of a documentary series, and I'm sure that certain fans will know what I'm talking about. Faces of Death. Now, you've never seen any of the Faces of Death.
No, I haven't. But you've talked about it.
I have, and they are, like I said, they're more of a documentary. They show slaughterhouse stuff. They show reenactments of murders and executions and stuff like that, and it's so jarring, it's so disturbing, and it's really, really bothersome to watch certain parts of it. And they've gotten tamer as they've gone. I mean, the newest one, which came out I think in 2000 or 2001, was nowhere near the level of brutality that the first one was. It's so bloody and brutal. I mean, when you're seeing cows slaughtered and hooked up on hooks, and a guy getting electrocuted, and you see the blood pouring out of his eye sockets. I mean, it's so brutal. Number one, this is hands down, in my opinion, the most brutal and most fucked up horror movie ever made. The director was actually arrested and put on trial because they thought that he killed his crew, which turned out to be bullshit. But there is legitimate animal cruelty. They killed 4 or 5 animals filming this, which back then they didn't have the laws on it.
So nobody really cared.
Exactly. And the movie is Cannibal Holocaust. This movie has rape, it's got dismemberment, it's got cannibalism, it's got violence against women. There's one scene, for instance, where after they rape this one woman, they actually impale her by putting this spike through her vagina, and it comes through her neck. It's so brutal.
That's so bad.
It's coming out of the time, when exploitation films were just ending, because the movie was made in 1980.
Yeah,
so we're ending the exploitation right at the beginning of the slasher film and stuff like that. I love all the movies on this list. Cannibal Holocaust is one of the few that really still to this day unnerves me. So that's my list. What do you got, Mitch?
All right, I'll start it off. Start off with Piranha, the 3D.
Okay, from
Piranha.
2000. I think it was 2010 or 2000.
Yeah, it's a newer.
It's newer.
It's a newer film, and the reason it's not higher up on the list is for the fact it's just so funny.
It's over
rather
the top.
than it is
It's very
horror.
I mean, there's definitely some scary scenes, but it's very over-the-top comical because of how much gore is in it.
You took my penis!
Yeah, the porn guy.
I ate my penis!
And the thing is, whether you watch it in 3D or not, and the piranha spits it out, and it's like right in your face, there's this...
Screw that. I wouldn't watch it in 3D.
Dude,
I don't want dick in my face.
Dude, I didn't know that was coming the first time I saw it, because I saw it in the theater in 3D.
Oh, jeez.
And there's this floating dick, and I remember people all behind me and everything in the theater laughing. I was literally in the front row, and I was just... I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. But of course, the scalpel.
Yeah, the scalpel.
The scalping
it wasn't really a scalpel. It took her face, but
yeah.
Either way,
it took
that
everything.
scene, that was messed.
It was so gory, so brutal.
That guy was a jackass. I'm glad he got killed.
Yeah, I agree with me both. All right, so number 4.
The I Spit on Your Grave.
The I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah, so that we already been there.
Yep. Number 3.
Number 3, Hills Have Eyes 2.
Okay.
The remake.
The remake.
The remake.
Where the sergeant is all cut to shit,
and he's
literally put in the shit.
He's put in the shit. And that one.
That was so
like,
gross.
Oh,
it's not so much that that particular scene is brutal, but it's
just
nasty.
I think this is the one with the pickaxe in the eye.
Yep.
And
which
so
was pretty brutal.
That was bad.
Yeah, I don't deal well with eyeball injuries. I don't deal well with it at all. Number 2.
Number 2 was Serbian film.
Which I had, I think, at number 3.
Right.
Yep.
So we already talked about that.
And your number 1.
Number 1 you wouldn't talk about.
Yes, I refuse to touch this movie.
It's the one that we reviewed and didn't give a rating on. And the only reason I put it at the top of the list for its realism and the fact that it could actually really happen.
Well, yeah, it's based off of 7 actual child abduction cases.
And I'm talking about Megan is Missing.
Yeah, fucking. Oh my god, that movie's so brutal.
And I wouldn't even like. If I've never watched the movie, I wouldn't even put it on the list. But I watched the movie, so I'm gonna put it on the list. It's
yeah,
brutal.
And the thing is, you had no knowledge about the movie. I had bought it off Amazon.
You didn't know much about it?
No, I knew very little about it. And a friend of mine who knew that I really liked extreme gory horror films told me to check it out.
It wasn't really that gory.
The first half starts off as, it's an annoying film because
you got that.
It's showing like teenage girls like 13, 14, 15 years old. And then it's just like, oh my
They're
god,
online
when is this shit gonna happen? And then it starts like getting kind of more almost creeper factor.
Yeah.
And then once it goes into the actual horror aspect of it, it's so over the top, but not in the same aspect as Piranha. Like, they went for the realistic over the top, like how far can we push the envelope?
Right. And they hit it.
They did. And
so,
I mean, if this was a film that had been put out for mainstream audiences, it would have been like Human Centipede. It would have been banned in no time.
Do you think so?
Oh, absolutely. If it was a mainstream film, like it was put into theaters, like Human Centipede, even small amounts of theaters, this movie I think would have been on like every country's ban list. I think so. That's what I think.
America's made worse movies.
Italy's definitely got the worst batch.
Oh, geez.
You look at things like Zombie, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah. All right.
They've definitely got the worst batch when it comes to gore and nudity and shit. And even their like old satanic films. Although eventually we do have to touch Suspiria because I cannot wait to do that film. It's such a good movie. It's hard to know.
We'll have to get it.
Get to it. I think I got it in my collection. If not, then I'll definitely be getting it. All right, so let's get to the reviews.
Right. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right, sweet.
I'm going to start off with the newer film, actually, with the 2013 Krampus, the Christmas Devil. This is made by a small company out of Pennsylvania called Snow Dog Studio.
Yeah.
They made a couple other films. I haven't seen them yet. There is some previews on here, so you can check out the other films a little bit. I'm going to first actually get into what Krampus is, because a lot of people don't know. He's definitely making more of a comeback because he's showing up in TV shows and stuff.
And I'm actually happy that he is.
As am I. The first show that I ever saw that make a reference to him in, actually, believe it or not, was the Adult Swim show The Venture Brothers.
Really?
Yeah, he shows up as the Christmas demon.
Oh.
But then he shows up in shows like Supernatural. He showed up in a recent episode of Grimm, that new show based off of the Grimm fairy tales.
Yep.
He was in that, which was really cool. It was a very merry Krampus.
Ha.
Or Krampus, I think was what it was called. But it was really
Did he
good.
show up in South Park?
Yes, he
Yes,
did. He
that's
showed
where
up in
I
South
found
Park
him.
episode.
So.
And there was another cartoon, I forget what. American Dad. He showed up in American Dad. He stole. He kidnapped Steve.
Yes.
He kidnapped Steve, and they did like a whole Phantom of the Opera kind of thing.
I don't really watch American Dad.
I watch it very rarely.
I like Family Guy a lot better.
But let me get into the story.
Right.
Krampus, he predates Christianity. He is the pagan spirit of Yule,
Right.
which Christianity took a lot of its Christmas traditions
culture.
from it, like the Christmas tree, mistletoe, the wreath, etc.
Right.
He is a horned figure. He is the grandson of Loki, son of Hel, goddess of the underworld. He was to bring life back to the world after Yule and the snow and everything had come. The thing is, he's really weird because in the pagan tradition, he was not depicted as being evil or a trickster like Loki and Hel were depicted. He actually was more of a good deity. He brought life back and he brought the harvest and everything. And actually, he did reward good children originally.
Yeah, he was like the equivalent of a Santa.
Exactly, but the thing is, his version of punishment, yeah, he would give them coal, but he would also whip them with like switches and stuff like that.
Right.
Christianity then took him and turned him into
Anti-Santa.
The Anti-Claus, which they literally made him Santa Claus's bitch. Because he got to punch the bad kid still, but they really twisted him and there are still a lot of countries that do talk about Krampus during the Christmas season, like all of the Scandinavian countries and such, which is cool. And believe it or not, there are some towns here in America that actually still do Krampus Club, which is a daily parade that they do during the Yule season, where people dress up like Krampus and they actually go around with whips and they'll whip them at kids and stuff, and it's actually kind of neat. They've got videos on YouTube, which you guys can check out. But with this, they've unfortunately kept it with the Christian ideal, as most of our viewers know that I'm a pagan. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the pagan aspect. They make him Santa Claus's evil twin brother, but the thing is, he doesn't really seem all that evil.
No, he's more. I would say, by what you've been telling me, he's more of a he's just there to help punish.
Well, in this, they make him out to be evil, but the more you see Santa seems like more of a dick. Like, he actually seems more like the bad guy. And there's a scene where Santa starts screaming at this kid, and you'll never look at Santa the same way again.
Oh, jeez.
Not a lot of blood, not a lot of gore. My biggest complaint, and I was mentioning this before to you, I wanted to see Krampus's face. I wanted to see how they depicted him and everything. Like, you can see his horns, but that's about the extent of it. I, though, really dug this movie. I thought that they did a great job finally bringing Krampus to having his own movie. And I had mentioned to you that I would have loved to have seen Krampus as a horror villain. Like,
right.
He could have really been...
He could have been a good one.
A great villain. And I think they did that well with him, because in this, he punishes the kids. However, the really bad kids who are put on the top of the list, he's out to kill them. He's not friendly about it. You know, you can't reason with him. He's
right.
Strict. He's got a strict code of ethics, and this is what he does. Like, you know, if it's something stupid like, you know, oh, I didn't listen to mommy or daddy, you get a lump of coal. Big deal. If you've done something like, you know, you were a bully and you beat these kids up, you got whipped. But if you're somebody who, you know, killed animals, he would actually kidnap you and put you in this cage kind of thing. But there's one kid in this who you find out has actually been killing other people.
Oh, wow.
Other kids.
Right.
And I'm not going to spoil it and tell you who it is. Go check this out. Unfortunately, the movie, well, it might be on Amazon now. It wasn't when I purchased the film. I actually had to get it through Snowdog's website, www.snowdogstudio.com. It's on the back of the DVD here. That's the only reason I know it, because I didn't remember up until looking at it. Definitely check this movie out if you want to find out more about Krampus. They do have a little bit in the special features as to the history of him. However, it's not a really great long history. So things like Wikipedia, Google, whatever, check it out. Actually, I think I told you a little bit about this when I was looking the movie up on Amazon. I actually found a German exclusive Living Dead doll of Krampus. Yes. And I will definitely be getting one for my collection at some point. I just haven't.
That would fit your collection.
I wanted something off of it.
It would be awesome.
I'm a huge... And the thing is, I've known about Krampus since being a kid, obviously, with my parents, and more my mother than my father. And I remember, you know, hearing the stories, and I was more excited about Krampus coming than Santa. Because my dad,
you were.
Well, my dad's Catholic, so I had both upbringings. But I was more excited about Krampus. Like, I actually wanted to someday meet the Krampus, and that never happened. But
it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see him someday. But anyway, I gave Krampus a Christmas Devil 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the film. Snow Dogs, keep it up. I will definitely be checking out your other films. However, you've got a tall order to fill with how much I liked Krampus. So, best of luck.
Big shoes.
Big shoes. Very big shoes. Big boots.
Big boots. Or claws.
It's wintertime. Big boots.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Stupid. Alright, anyway, you're up, dude.
Alright, I'm going to start off with 1408. Based off the Stephen King short story. And I will say, the short story wasn't that terrifying.
No, it really
wasn't. It says, based off a terrifying story, and it's really not that terrifying. It's mild compared to what Stephen King's usual is.
Yeah, I mean, the stories themselves are usually pretty scary compared to the movies. I mean, obviously, like, it was really scary. The Shining was scary.
Did you hear about it?
They plan on remaking it.
Yeah, I guess they're going to do. And you think they're going to have Tim Curry come back? You think they could have Tim Curry come back?
Dude, I want Tim Curry to come back.
That'd be awesome.
That would
Tim
be
Curry
awesome.
come back.
But I heard that Stephen King is actually going to do a quasi-remake book/sequel to it, which, if he does, Stephen King, if you're happening to watch this, for whatever reason, no stupid-ass giant spider at the end of the book, because that was just, it was retarded. I'm sorry. I love the book. I love it.
I'm sure he's heard that before.
And the thing is, when I read the book and I finished it, I actually threw my copy across the room because the spider was just so stupid. It was not needed. They wanted him to be a demon. I would rather have seen a large demon or even a human-sized demon, and he still had that kind of clownish makeup.
That'd been cool.
That's what I would have rather have seen. But that's just me.
Anyway, continuing on.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
What did you think of The Mist, by the way? Stephen King flick. Did you like it or did you hate it?
I liked it, but I
like the story better.
Yeah, I like the story better.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of like kaiju films like Godzilla and Gamera and those big monsters, I'd say The Mist is a cool flick. But
actually, the movie that's in pre-production right now, Stephen King movie, Cell.
Really?
Guess who's in it?
Do I want to know?
Isabella Fuhrman. Orphan.
Oh my god! I was like, I know that name.
She's in. She's. I don't know which part she plays, but I know she's in it. And even with that, and I'm after Orphan, I've become kind of an Isabella Fuhrman fan.
Yeah, I really liked her in The Orphan. So
she was in. She was also in. She was in the Hunger Games. She was a representative or whatever from District 2.
That's right.
She was in that. She was in. She's done quite a bit of stuff since Orphan, so...
I'm going to say it right now. The Hunger Games, I wasn't looking forward to it. I didn't know anything really about it. I actually own the film because I got it as a Christmas gift from work.
Of course you did.
No, actually from where I work, we do a Christmas party, and they pull your name up and you go and you pick a present.
Right.
And I just saw one that looked like a DVD shape, and I was like, oh, okay. So I grabbed that and I ripped it open, and it happened to be The Hunger Games. A couple days later, my wife and I watched it. She knew more about it than I did. I didn't really know anything about it.
I never read the books.
Nope, me either. And I'm going to say right now, I loved the movie. It was a blast to watch. It was really cool.
I mean, I've seen
surprisingly,
some of it, but
like,
I haven't actually
I thought for sure it was going to be like Twilight, and I was like, oh boy. And I watched it, and I was pleasantly surprised. It had a lot of action. It was really, really good. I mean, it was a blast to watch. All right, so anyway, 1408.
Let's get back on the subject matter.
Sorry.
I love this movie. This is one of the better Stephen King movies I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely ranks up there with
it's got,
stuff like... now, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but I love stuff like Thinner, which I thought was great.
Thinner had atmosphere that was just...
Tommy Knockers, of course,
so
is one of my favorites. And I know a lot of people give It a lot of shit. I love It. I thought that was a great movie.
They just give It a lot of shit because of the fact it's just fucking scary.
It is scary. Like, if you have a fear of clowns to begin with, that just made it worse.
See, I don't.
I don't either. I don't mind clowns. I fucking hate mimes. I fucking hate mimes. Not scary, just
mimes
don't like them. I just don't like them.
Bother me.
Nope. But I don't like... I mean, there are some that are so fucking bad, too. Like, I know that... You know, if you're a Stephen King fan or if you're a horror fan, because there is a difference. The two versions of The Shining. The Stephen King fans love the Stephen King Shining. Horror fans love the Stanley Kubrick version.
Stanley Kubrick did a lot, yes.
I go Kubrick. I know it wasn't as, to the book as it should have been, but I love that version.
The way he did it.
I love Stanley Kubrick in general. Almost all of his movies that I've seen, I love.
I love Dark Knight.
So, I don't know if you've seen any of Stanley Kubrick's other films, like 2001: Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange.
I haven't seen that, and I want to because Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange will definitely be coming up in this season because I will definitely be reading Clockwork
Sweet.
Orange, so.
I can't wait to watch it.
So that'll be coming up.
Back
Look forward to that.
1408.
Samuel L. Jackson and
John Cusack. Right.
Hi guys. My cat and my dog just randomly came in. I don't know if you can see either of them. If you guys start playing in here, I'm gonna have issues.
Oh, there you go.
And I got a cat.
And a dog.
And a dog. Hi guys. Come on. Alright, so saying.
It has atmosphere, it has raw paranormal horror.
Yeah.
It's got a lot going for it, and I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yep.
What do you say?
9 out of 10. Definitely a good movie. I don't know if I would give it that much because I definitely say it's more of a mindfuck ghost story because you don't know like what he's actually seeing and what is complete. You know.
I like mindfucks though.
I like mindfucks to a point. All right, you're starting to scratch me. Get off me. I'm really torn on like how much I like this movie because there's parts of me that really, really love this movie, but then there's parts of me where it's it was okay. I'm gonna actually have to go 6 out of 10.
Okay.
And the only reason I give it that is because, like I said, I'm really torn on it because I love it as a ghost story, but the mindfuck quality makes it kind of different than most, so I'm kind of torn on it. All right. So I'm up, and I know that this is the older of the two films, but this film is so cult-worthy and known that it had to be saved till my last one. It's from 2003, and it's Bubba Ho-Tep. Again, I said that I would get into the reasoning for the Elvis-like jacket that covers the DVD case. This is what the DVD actually looks like, rather than the case. And it stars Bruce Campbell from The Evil Dead. And O.C. Davis, who he's been in a ton of stuff. I can't think of other movies that he's been in. I might say it doesn't. But this is the funny part, okay? You're in this little town in Texas called Mud Creek.
Okay.
You're in a retirement home, and you meet Bruce Campbell's character. Come to find out, Bruce Campbell, believe it or not, in this, is actually Elvis.
Okay.
Elvis didn't die like everybody thought. He actually found an Elvis impersonator, switched places with him. Elvis got tired of all the stuff. He just wanted a normal life.
Makes sense.
Well, he's in this retirement home, and he meets this black guy played by O.C. Davis, who you've come to find out is actually John F. Kennedy.
Oh.
Or not John F. Kennedy. Or yeah, JFK. John F. Kennedy. Right? Or
So, wait, John F. Kennedy was black?
no. I get it. I'll get into this too.
Okay.
You find out that John F. Kennedy was not, in fact, killed, but the government put him back together, and what brain matter had been destroyed, they put a bag of sand. So he's paranoid, but the thing is, they have this machine that turned him black, and at first we think that he's completely nuts. Well, the two of them are noticing that a lot of their friends and such in the nursing home are dying.
Okay.
Well, as they are dying, JFK actually starts looking into why they're dying. They find out that it's actually an ancient Egyptian mummy that was stolen, held for ransom, but the bus that had stolen it went into a river, and the mummy has been released, his curse and everything, and he has to feed on souls in order to stay alive.
All right, it just happens
Well,
to come to this
when
town.
you first see him, he shows up in cowboy boots and a cowboy hat that he has stolen from another very famous actor, and I can't think of his name for the life of me.
Oh, okay.
Begins with a K.
Oh, no. Kilimanjaro? No,
No,
that's
I can't. I think it might have actually been Kilimanjaro. No, that's
Kilimanjaro's a mountain range.
What the fuck is it? I can't remember, and I just watched this too. But anyway, so the two of them team up to take said mummy down, which they begin calling Bubba Ho-Tep. Bubba Ho-Tep comes to find out he's been sucking souls out of people's butts. Yeah, he's sucking the souls out of their ass. There's not a lot of gore, there's not a lot of blood, anything of that nature. And it's actually more of a comedy than it is a horror film. And this is my first time watching the film. I actually, believe it or not, for how hard this film is to find, because I looked it up on Amazon, because I tried buying it one time, and it was like $30-something for a used copy.
Oh.
I found this previewed at Hannaford for $5.
No way.
Totally serious.
Holy shit.
And the thing is, when I pulled it out of, because it came with a plastic case over this, the plastic case was junk. It was so cut up and everything. It hadn't even been opened. I was shocked.
Oh.
So I'm like, this. So I cut it open, and my wife and I watched it. We both laughed really hard. It's a freaking hilarious horror comedy if you're into that kind of stuff. It's very similar to stuff like Shaun of the Dead or Return of the Living Dead. You know, those kind of zombie comedies.
Right.
Very disturbed sense of humor. Of course, as you know, I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. I love Bruce. He's one of my favorite actors. Bubba Ho-Tep. I'm torn on this because the horror aspect wasn't huge. However, the comical aspect of it made me love this movie. So I'm really, really torn, and I'm going to have to say that because I'm torn, the horror aspect, I'm going to have to give it a double rating. The horror, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10 because it wasn't that scary. There wasn't a lot of horror. However, the comedy factor, I give it a 9 out of 10. So I'm going to meld the two, and I'm going to kind of meet in the middle, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Very funny movie.
I'll have to watch it. It's
hilarious. I recommend it. Oh, and I didn't want to ruin it, but I pretty much already did. You find out, like I said, Bruce Campbell is in fact Elvis.
Yeah.
Fucking the black dude turns out to actually be JFK. You find out at the very end. You have to watch through all the credits. There's a newspaper that comes up, and it says the bodies of Elvis, JFK, and an ancient mummy have been found. So I'm like, oh my god, he really was JFK. And I know that I'm sorry that that's a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen Bubba Ho-Tep. See this movie; it's so funny. If you need just a good,
even with the spoiler, it's a good movie.
Yeah, forget that I told you about the spoiler. Just go see it because it's.
But that would explain the case.
That explains the case because
it's an Elvis.
He is in fact Elvis,
case.
And I wanted so badly to actually put my cat in this, but it doesn't have a spot for his head to go. Because I wanted to take a picture and put it on Facebook.
Well,
excuse me.
Coming back from the comedy,
yep,
we're going to jump right into
another ghost story.
Another ghost story, and that is Shudder. Now, this is the American remake, not the Korean.
Nope, because you're not. And it's not Japanese, so you're not turning Japanese.
No, but I will say, it is probably just as good.
Right side, Fred.
I see what you did there.
80s music references.
90s.
Oh, that's right. They were the 90s, weren't they?
That's the mid 90s.
Fuck. Showing my age on this.
Anyway.
Alright, anywho.
Shudder is...
Oh, wait. Oh, shit. What the hell is that actor's name?
Who?
Let me see this. Keep talking.
Okay. Shudder is a...
Joshua Jackson. This dude.
Yes.
Who was in Dawson's Creek. And
I didn't watch that, but okay.
Well, that was where he got his big start, but he was also in another great couple horror films. He was in...
I know I've seen him in a couple.
He was in the first movie, The Skulls.
Yes.
He was in that.
I love that movie.
He was in
that with
Wes Craven's Curse, the werewolf flick. Remember, he had the horror museum, and he actually had the silver cane from the original Wolfman.
Cool.
Really cool flick.
Now, anyway, again, a ghost story about a newlywed couple going back to Korea. I was going to say, was it Japan?
No, in the American version, they go to Japan.
All right, they go to...
It's right here. Shooting in Japan.
All right, so they go.
So I guess they are turning Japanese.
I guess. So they go to Japan for their honeymoon. I'd say, but he's got a job offer there, I guess, or something. Actually, I think it might be just a job.
Yeah, latest photography assignment. It doesn't.
Yeah. So, but in that. With his camera, his wife.
Yeah, wife, girlfriend. I'm not really sure what she is.
I'm pretty sure it's a wife because it shows pictures of them being married.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So.
His wife finds out of his past before they met, and which appears to be more
sinister, more dark.
Yeah, and it proves that he has done some pretty bad shit in his life, and it's coming back to kill him.
Now. I know you've seen this version. Have you seen the Korean version?
Not a lot of it.
Oh, so only bits and pieces.
Yeah, like walk in.
I will say, if you have not seen the Korean version, I know that I typically stay away from the remakes. I did actually like this remake. See the Korean version because it's just as good, if not better.
Okay.
It's really, really good. Unfortunately, I don't have it in my collection. Otherwise, I'd say, hey.
Is it called Shudder, or is it?
It is also called Shudder. They didn't change the name on this one like they did with The Grudge and The Ring. And as you know, I'm a fan of foreign horror films because I love a lot of the foreign shit.
Right.
I love Ringu. I love Ju-on. Trying to think of some other ones. Actually, there's a really good one I gotta see if I can get my hands on. I haven't seen it in a couple of years called Uzumaki, which is really. and pardon the pun for those of you who have seen it, it's a really twisted film. Because Uzumaki in English translates to spiral.
Does it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I make fun of Naruto so much, because Naruto Uzumaki actually means fish cake spiral. Because that's what a Naruto is a fish cake. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fish cake that you put in ramen.
Okay.
Yep. And I know that that's an anime reference, but whatever. As most of our fans probably know, I'm an anime nut too.
But you've seen this, I'm sure.
Yes.
And
many times.
And I've seen it many times, and I enjoy watching it.
I really like
even
this
the third time around, I enjoy watching it.
I really like this movie. Obviously, it's not one of my favorite ghost stories.
No, but it's
definitely an enjoyable film.
one.
It's got some good scares compared to things like, I know a lot of people did get scared with The Ring and The Grudge, which I didn't, but I did like The Grudge.
Yeah, The Grudge made me jump a couple times, I guess.
The original versions definitely got me more than the remakes. Excuse me. What would you give Shudder for a rating?
Give it an 8.
An 8?
An 8.
Definitely higher than me. It's definitely higher than me. I'm thinking probably, I'm going to say 6 out of 10. I didn't hate the film, but I didn't love it either. Like, it's definitely one of those ones where I'll watch it again, but it's not one of those ones where I've got to watch it like once a year or once every couple of months.
No, I'll watch it whenever.
I'll straight up say though that Bubba Ho-Tep, I will watch that again within probably a couple of weeks because it's that fucking good.
You have to invite me over when you do that.
I will definitely do that. Okay, so now we get to our comparison.
Yes.
Which we kind of gave a little bit of a hint because we are talking about a ghost story. One of my personal favorite ghost stories.
And there's what, 3 or 4 renditions of it? There's been the remake and obviously the original. There's the book. Then there's one in the middle, I think.
Well, they did the original. Actually, they did a series. It's now 5, believe it or not. They just made a new one.
Whoa!
Called the Amityville Asylum. And yes, people, that's right. We're talking about
the Amityville Horror.
The Amityville Horror. I'm a huge, and I do mean huge, fanatic of Amityville. I've read everything I can find about the cases. I've read the actual novel. I've seen all the movies except the new one. I haven't seen the new one yet.
The one with
the Asylum.
Okay, no.
No, I saw the remake.
All right. I saw the remake and I love the remake.
I love the remake. I love the original. So this is really hard for me to go with which one I like more.
No, it wasn't supposedly. It was based off of a real case, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, they found out that the whole thing was a hoax. But some people still believe that it's haunted because people talk about seeing things when they drove past. The new family that owns the house claims that they've never had any paranormal experiences. So it's really weird. But the son, who was like the main focus of both the original and the remake, he still stands by the fact that there was things going on. Like, even though the parents came out and said that there was a hoax, he said, no, things were going on. I'm not going to lie to the press about this. Things were going on. So something was, I think
something was there.
Something was going on. And if you look at old pictures of the house before it got remodeled and everything, the front of the house, like the balcony and the windows and everything, made it look like a skull. So that house was really creepy to begin with. It was a really, really, really interesting house. God, this is so hard because I love both of the original and the remake. Because, like I said, Amityville is probably my favorite ghost story outside of I can't even think of the movie now. Outside of like Poltergeist probably being right up there too.
Yeah, that's a classic. Poltergeist is a classic.
I would almost say that Amityville beats out Poltergeist, but just barely. Shit, this is so fucking hard. I gotta go original. And
okay.
And I'm only saying the original for one particular scene.
All right.
It's the scene where the stepfather is going down in the basement and he's looking for the son.
Yeah.
The stairs give way and he falls down through the basement. And there's just blood underneath.
Yeah.
It's such an iconic scene, and even when the walls start to bleed, it's such an iconic scene.
That one's been copied too.
In a lot of movies.
Yes.
A lot of movies. Even The Simpsons made a reference to that.
One of their Halloween.
The Treehouse of Horrors.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a huge Simpsons fan, which you know, so I've seen almost every Treehouse of Horror. I actually
I've seen a bit
gotta
of
get
them.
off my ass and start buying those on the DVDs.
That'd be cool.
That way I can watch The Simpsons all over again. I'll have them up here because Ruben's kind of with The Simpsons.
I didn't grow up on it.
I
My
did.
dad watched it a couple of times, but I actually ended up growing up on
South Park.
Family Guy, South Park. So
Mine was The Simpsons.
there's a bit of a generation gap between us.
Yeah, mine was The Simpsons, Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead. Those were like my cartoons I shouldn't have been watching.
Yeah.
That and I mean the big one for me that I knew that I probably shouldn't have been watching, but I did anyway was, and I love it because my parents introduced me to horror at a very young age. Was Tales from the Crypt. That was like
I didn't watch that.
that was
as
like
a kid.
that was like that was my pornography as a kid. I'll admit it. You know, it's shit I knew I shouldn't have been watching, but I couldn't look away.
My mom used to watch South Park with me. So
Nice. My dad would watch it with me when I started
Really?
watching. Yeah. But I was like, I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade when I started watching. So
no, I was
big
watching.
difference. All right. So what do you go for Amityville? New or old?
I'll go with old just for the fact it's the original idea.
Yeah, I mean,
It started. If there wasn't that, there wouldn't be a remake.
true.
And
True.
it is a very hard split because they're both really good.
Really good.
And I think Ryan Reynolds definitely does a really good idea.
Very,
the remake,
very good.
and it's a lot different from what he usually does.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you see him in Van Wilder is his biggest known.
Well, it's definitely one of
That and he was in Waiting, which was all right movie.
Yeah, that's a kind of like almost like The Big Lebowski is one of those kind of cult
Yeah.
comedies. But I mean, when I think Ryan Reynolds, the big ones I obviously think of, like you said, is Van Wilder, Green Lantern, of course, because he.
Oh
was
yeah, I forgot he was in that one.
And oh crap, it just came out another comedy that he did, R.I.P.D.
Oh yeah.
Which
The Rest in Peace department or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
which I like that movie. It was good.
I haven't seen it, and I've been wanting to because I like the idea.
I got it for Christmas actually.
I like the idea.
And
of it.
actually, my wife gave me that, and she gave me Pacific Rim, which was fucking awesome.
I don't have interest in seeing Pacific.
If you like science fiction and you like giant robots, I definitely say see it. Like if you thought that Transformers, like the first Transformers movie, was good, Pacific Rim completely blew it out of the water. Like I would honestly say if they made a Pacific Rim
I have
2,
to watch it.
if they made a Pacific Rim 2, I would jump all over seeing it because it was that fucking good. Like it appeals to the sci-fi fanatic because of the giant robots and it being a future world, but it also appeals to monster fans because there's giant monsters that the robots fight.
Now, I can think of something else that appeals to sci-fi fans, monster fans, comedy fans. It's basically something that we've been talking throughout this whole episode. It's actually kind of good because it leads into our Artists of the Week.
It does.
And Guy's done great comedies. He did the
Yeah.
National Lampoons, the original Vacation movies.
Animal House.
He's done Animal House. He did
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, which is a good movie.
A great movie.
So
And he did. These are probably his best known because not only did he write them and direct them, but he also acted in them.
right.
Which was the Ghostbuster films. And this is probably weird that you guys are hearing us talking about these compared to a horror person or music or
Right.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
But the reason that we're talking about this particular gentleman is he passed away, was it yesterday or today?
This morning. I
This
think.
morning, yeah, I was going to say, I think it's this morning.
And
Which is
at
really
69
sad.
years old.
69 years old, which sucks because they were talking about doing Ghostbusters 3.
Or a remake or no, it was 3.
It was Ghostbusters.
But I don't think he was on board.
He was the first one on board.
Was he?
Yeah, because he
Oh.
wrote it and he would plan to direct it and star in it.
That'd be cool.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen now, which
No.
sucks.
They can't find another.
You can't get another Egon.
No.
And-
We're talking about Harold Ramis,
Who played Egon Spangler.
the geek in glasses.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how you were when you first saw Ghostbusters. but
I loved it.
I did too, and the thing is, for me,
And I was a kid, and I was like,
I was a kid, and my favorite Ghostbuster was Egon.
Really?
I loved Egon. He was my favorite.
I didn't really have a favorite. I just liked them all.
I liked them all, but there was something about Egon that he had kind of that witty sense of humor. Like he wasn't an overly
Right.
comical character, but especially with Ghostbusters 2 when they're taking on the brothers that had been electrocuted.
Oh yeah.
And they're powering up the proton packs, and he goes, what was it, do, re, and then they get to him and he goes, Egon! You know, it was just it was a witty kind of thing, and I loved Egon because I love science, I love learning new shit, and I thought that he
I
was
like weird science.
Yeah.
This is strange crap.
I like that kind of stuff too, so, but, you know, I was a huge fan. I love almost every movie that he either was in or
wrote or directed or...
I love Animal House. It's hilarious.
Animal House is one of my favorite movies.
Caddyshack I thought was funny as hell. Obviously the Ghostbusters movies I loved.
He was a genius.
He was definitely a comic genius. I would have liked to have found out how he would have been doing other genres. Like I would have liked to have seen how well he did with drama or action or horror. I would have liked to have seen if he was as good with those genres. You know, like the Monty Python guys tried doing other stuff and it wasn't anywhere near as good.
No. But I could see him.
Like a lot of people didn't realize that when no. Cat, I'm gonna kill you.
Continue on, I got cat. Come here, Jasper. No.
See, this is why I close off the door.
This is why you need to fill in the holes in your shelving.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Nobody.
Stupid ass cat. This is why I love reptiles.
I like cats.
Oh, I like cats too, but this is why I own reptiles. But anyway, as I was saying, I really enjoy the guy's movies, and he's gonna be very, very missed. I mean,
oh yes.
Like I said, they had talked about doing a Ghostbusters 3, which I am personally super, super bummed because of his death. We're not gonna see it.
Well, didn't
or at least I don't think we'll see it.
I can't remember his real name, or even his character's name in Ghostbusters. The black guy.
Oh,
didn't he die a while ago?
No, he's still alive.
Really?
Yeah, he actually hits the convention scene quite a bit.
Oh, cool. All right.
Now, the black guy you're thinking of was the only living member from Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. The Afro dude.
Oh, yeah.
He died just recently.
Oh.
Which my dad was all bummed about because my dad's a huge Bruce Lee fanatic. Like, he loves Kung Fu flicks, and Bruce Lee was like his idol.
Right.
So
Bruce Lee's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm a Bruce Lee fan. I wish he was still alive because I'd totally love to meet Bruce Lee.
That'd be sweet.
That would be really sweet. But, alright, so that's that. Look forward to episode 15, which hopefully will be done within a week, we're hoping. Do you know what movies you will be doing?
I have a couple, I think. I can't remember the names, so my mom was watching them the other day, and
okay.
They just seemed really interesting. So,
well, my two, actually, we were talking about one of them. I told you that was going to be coming up this season, and that's Stanley Kubrick's "I'm Singing in the Rain." Gotta go with Clockwork Orange. And I'm actually doing a modern one, which you're wicked stoked about seeing because we were talking about it the other day. I love this movie. Can't wait to watch it again. Smiley.
Yes, and I didn't even think it was going to be that good.
I didn't either. I thought it was going to be really cheesy,
and
I watched it, and I'm not going to ruin it for you guys because I don't want to get into the review.
No, but
it was very surprising. It was very surprising.
So I'm going to have to watch that.
So you don't know what your two are, so hopefully we'll...
Nope, but I'll figure it out.
We'll figure that out. Like I said, hopefully it'll be in a week's time. And actually, before I forget, not super horror related, but because the concept of these particular books have to do with monsters and demons, I do want to mention this real quick for my manga and anime fans that watch. If you are a fan, and even if you're not, you just want to check out something new to read, Seven Seas have been putting out some really great manga recently that can appeal both to the anime fan and the horror fan. Again, they're not super horror, but they have horror aspects to them.
Right.
And actually, I'm going to grab one of them. Jay, can you lift that just briefly so I can grab this one? Thank you. And I'm going to grab the other one real quick. Oh. They're put out by Seven Seas, like I said, and both are very comical but have that horror aspect. The first one I'm going to talk about, because it took my #1 spot as my new favorite manga, because I'm very picky with manga. It's called Monster Musume Everyday Life with Monster Girls. And there's 2 volumes out right now. I don't know if you guys can see those or not. It's about this guy who, it's our world, the government has said, okay, every monster that you've ever thought didn't exist does truly exist. So the harpy exists, the centaur exists, etc. And they're trying to integrate them into human society. This poor bastard, not one of the people who are supposed to help integrate, but he gets mistaken for one and he ends up having to deal with it anyway.
Oops.
Within the first volume, you're introduced to Mia, who is a Lamia, which is half woman, half snake.
Okay.
She's absolutely head over heels for the guy, wants to be with him. However, the law says human and monster cannot be together. Cannot happen. You're also introduced to Poppy, which is a harpy, so half bird, half woman. And you meet Sarah, who is a centaur.
Oh, cool.
In Volume 2, you're introduced to a slime and a mermaid, and you'll be introduced to more monsters as the series goes on. Right now in Japan, I think there's 5 volumes that they're still working on, so it's surprising that it's already come to the States with so few volumes. And it's hugely popular there, it's hugely popular here. I recommend it because it's so funny. It's your typical harem-style anime where it's one guy with a bunch of very attractive women, but you put monsters into it, which is phenomenal. Great series. The other one, I just picked this up and I read through it, and it's pretty close to how much I love Monster Musume, because I love demons and I love hell, and I especially love like the attractive demon, the succubus kind of style. And it's called Love in Hell. There's also 2 volumes. I only have volume 1 right now. The cool thing is with this 27-year-old, so right around my age, he gets drunk one night, he falls and he kills himself by his fall.
Okay.
He wakes up and he thinks, I was a pretty good guy. He figures he's going to be in heaven. He ends up in hell. Hell is completely different than what we would expect. There's no fire and brimstone or anything. It's just this desolate, like, wasteland. But you actually have to do part-time jobs in order to earn money to buy clothing, because as soon as you hit hell, you're naked.
Ha.
And he meets his caretaker, who is this 17-year-old female demon, which you find out if you touch their horns, they get sexually aroused, which is hilarious. But the only thing is, the only kind of clothing that she can give him to cover himself, which she makes fun of how small he is, by the way, like within the first couple of pages. She slaps an iPod Touch around him, and in this next chapter he's listening to it and he's complaining because all she's got on there is death metal music, which is fucking awesome because I'm a metal fan, you're a metal fan. And there's a scene where he walks into her room naked, or she's naked. She had like just gotten out of the shower, and you see around the room there's nothing but like metal posters and stuff. Like there's a Metallica poster, an AC/DC, Ozzy Osbourne, Slipknot. The one that threw me off though was there was a big Misfits poster, but then I thought about it and I'm like, Misfits is one of those bands that kind of transcends the punk genre to metal fans, because a lot of metal fans I know love the Misfits, and I'm one of them. I love punk music too, so. But great series. You can pick both of the books up. I think they're like $11, $12. Sorry, guys. So they're not super expensive. I do suggest, like I said, if you're a manga fan and you love the horror genre and the comedy of it, check them out. I know you're not a huge anime fan.
Give or take.
Yeah,
but I might check them out.
I'm really picky when it comes to my manga more than I am my anime. Like, I'll watch almost any anime, and if I don't like it, I'll be the first one to say, like, I hate Bleach. I know a lot of people do like Bleach. I can't fucking stand it. Inuyasha's another one. I can't stand it.
Like that one.
My wife likes it. I don't. Sorry. But my manga, I'm so particular with. Like, I really have to get into the series to continue to buy it. If I don't like it, well, I typically will send it either to Goodwill or to a used bookstore or whatever. Right. These 2 series will definitely not be leaving my collection. I absolutely love them. I've actually read both volumes of Monster Musume 4 times now. And Love and Hell I've read twice with just having it within a short time.
Goodness.
Can't wait to pick up Volume 2 to see how it goes. And I have to wait all the way till in May for Monster Musume Volume 3, which pisses me off. But they've got a couple of other ones out that have to do with monsters. I haven't read them yet, so I can't give any kind of super review on them. But I will give quick reviews on this. Monster Musume, a perfect 10 out of 10. Absolutely love them. I know that we said that there was some new stuff. We are going to be doing book reviews, so we'll be talking about that pretty soon.
That should be interesting, because I got some books for Christmas.
I got a bunch of books too.
And
which we'll do, actually, pretty much any book that has to do with the horror genre, heavy metal, punk rock, any kind of thing like that. And Love and Hell, like I said, it's pretty close to how much I love Monster Musume. They still, because it's only the first volume, I haven't gotten through all the kinks yet. I still got to read volume 2. But I'm going to give Love and Hell, just because I already am in love with the series, I'm actually going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's got very similar art style, very similar premises, except... Oh, but if you're looking for the gore factor, go for Love and Hell, because there is some really brutal scenes.
Oh, goodness.
Like, the guy I was talking about, he actually tries to get to the point of sexually harassing her in this class where they're trying to explain how hell works, and he goes to sexually assault her, and her horns actually expand and gouge out his eyes, and he's just bleeding profusely. There's a scene where another demon actually has a cranium compressor, and she's just tightening the thing, and you see the guy's eyes explode and everything. It's so brutal. It's hilarious though. Like I said, I recommend both of these to the manga and anime fans. So next week, do you have a book that you'll be reviewing? Do you want to tell them about that?
Sure. Well, I got a.
Is it a collection?
You know me, I like short stories.
Yes.
So it's a collection of short stories, and I haven't even gotten through it all yet.
Okay.
But it's one of my favorites already.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool. I'll straight out say which one I will be reviewing next week, which is actually from a good friend of mine. I met with him for the first time back in 2006, and I got to see him again last October for my birthday. My wife took me to go see his band play. And that's Andy Dane from the band Bella Morte.
Oh, cool.
He writes horror stories as well, and I'll be doing a review on his book, The Sticks, which is a werewolf tale.
Nice.
I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to get into it because we'll be reviewing it next week, hopefully, or possibly later this week, depending on how this goes. But, so yeah, look forward to our new segments. There will probably be more to come, but we'll talk about that as we go.
We're working on different things.
We're working on that. So, until next time, I guess, just keep things bloody.
Sweet.
Have fun, guys. Later!